Hey everyone, and welcome to another live session of the Type Convo. Today I am super excited to be joined by an amazing lettering artist. But the thing is that she's not really just a lettering artist. She's an author, she's a mother, a very successful woman, and I'm super happy to be joined by Martina Flor. She was born in Argentina. Then she moved to Spain, to Amsterdam, to Berlin, and it's quite a different journey, from a lot of people. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I've had so many guests so far, and I've learned so much. And yeah, it's been quite a journey since we started with the Type Convo. Hi there.
Hi, how are you, Alan?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, it's finally getting sunny a bit outside. So it was raining the whole morning. So now it's quite good.
That's great. It's also sunny here in Berlin, so I'm looking forward
Oh wow.
to talk to you in a sunny day.
That's amazing. Yeah. So I was just saying, you were born in Argentina and then moved to Spain, to Amsterdam, to Berlin. It's kind of quite a journey, So tell me more about it, about the experience of moving to a lot of different places. Let's start with that today.
Yeah, so you have the information right. I was born in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and I moved to Europe about 50 years ago, or a little bit more than 50 years ago, and it all started with, I would say, like a dream of finding my thing. What was the creative media that I was going to pursue in the next years. I'm a graphic designer, so I'm trained as a graphic designer, and I worked for many years as a graphic designer in Argentina. And at some point, I fell out of love with graphic design, and I started drawing in the nights. I started experiencing with lettering and letter forms. And at some point, I decided that I wanted to dive deeper into this world. So I moved to, as you said, to the Netherlands, to The Hague, to be specific. And I joined a 1 year course in the Netherlands. And essentially, what I did there is to learn how to draw letter forms. I learned type design, which is a little bit more specific, and that was a tipping point in my life and career. Like after that, after discovering the world of letter forms, I decided to go deep into this world and launch my career as a lettering artist. And from that point on, I moved to Berlin. And this is where I founded my studio in lettering and custom typography. And it's been a 15 and almost 15 years journey. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah,
In
quite a
nutshell, in
journey.
nutshell,
Yeah,
how I moved around the world. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, no, I've been in Berlin a couple of years ago and actually wanted to move to Berlin. First, my first option was Berlin because of all the different cultures. And Berlin is just unique, when you look at it, it's just different from any other city. But then I visited Madrid, like went on a vacation and fall in love with Madrid and with Spain. So yeah, here I am.
But
Yeah.
it's also a great city. So lucky you.
Yeah, Madrid is amazing. Totally agree with that. You've mentioned that back in Argentina, you studied graphic design and have formal education. Do you think nowadays that is the formal education is more important, or you can learn it all by yourself? What do you think about those two things?
It is interesting because I spend a lot of time, a lot of years in academia myself. I have two master courses, a postgrad, a degree in graphic design. Like I spend myself, I also believed at some point in my journey that I needed to have that type of validation, that I needed to have some sort of certificate that said like, this lady knows what she is talking about. And I think things have changed. I think whereas in the past, having a degree, having a diploma in something was perhaps the passport to get a good job or to succeed. Nowadays, these things are no longer useful in terms of helping you succeed or in terms of helping you make it in any industry that you want to get into. Nowadays, everybody can access tons of information and education in a lot of different forms. Looking back at my journey, I left my home country. I went across the ocean. I invested all of my savings. I left my job, my apartment, my family behind to pursue a dream, to pursue education. And now when I look back, I wouldn't change anything, but I feel like nowadays we are in a unique moment where you can access education without the need of doing all of these sacrifices. So that is a great pro of our times. At the same time, it's also a downside because we just have an overwhelm of information, and it's very hard to understand which one makes sense for me and which one is the reliable one or the one I should pursue. And also we are missing that accountability because since we can learn something from, or we believe we can learn something from just looking at YouTube videos and watching Instagram reels or TikToks, we feel like we need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So I think, to answer to your question, I think a middle point is, I would say, a good point. I would say that you need, in a way, you don't need to do all the sacrifices in order to get good education. At the same time, you need some sort of course, some sort of path that you follow and you stay accountable, and where you get the guidance, where you get the pieces of the puzzle put together in a way that makes sense. So yes, I would say that this is the challenge of our times. First, to stay accountable and to find something that really puts the pieces of the puzzle together.
Well, that's quite interesting point and quite interesting view, I would say. Um, you've mentioned success, finding success, and in the answer before. What did success mean to you when you moved to Europe, not like 15, 16 years ago? And what does it mean now?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? Because I was just trying to share the video.
No, all good. You've mentioned success in your previous answer. What did success mean to you when you just moved to Europe like 16 years ago? And what does it mean right now?
Well, it's been 15 years. So, and I always say that, I always speak about the fact that as an artist, as a creative, you should have a certain vision, which most of us, when we go into this world, we are lacking a vision. We're lacking, like, what is my end goal with this? We just want to do the work we like, and we hope that the business or whatever it is that we start provides us with that. And I always say that it's important to have a vision so that you know that you're heading somewhere. You have like a north for all the efforts that you are gonna put into building whatever it is that you're building. Because at the end of the day, there is a lot of work involved in that, right? There is a lot of there is a lot of doubt. There is a lot of back and forth. So you should have some sort of vision. And initially the vision that I had when I started my studio has changed over the years. It has changed because I have changed, because my life has changed. Back then I was on my own in a new country, and now I have a family with 2 kids, And I feel, I feel like my goals are different now. So back then, success for me was, was within a square meter. So it was about like spending most of the time doing the work I love in this desk. But back then was in another place, but in this desk, and spend as much time as I could doing that type of work. And I feel that throughout the years, all my experiences have changed me in a way that have shaped what success means to me right now. So I've become a mother. So it's no longer about me. It's a lot about my kids and someone else. So I have shifted myself from the center of the picture. And that also allowed me to shift myself from the center of the picture in several places, also in my work. Right now, I am the leader of a team, so I'm no longer, on my own. I also have to think about them and their well-being, and them feeling like aligned with the work we are doing. And also myself, I feel that I have moved from the center of what success means to me, because right now I am more focused on helping others achieve the success that I have achieved, right? So I feel that, like, going back to your question, in the beginning of my career, it was a lot about me. It was a lot about me doing what I wanted, doing, the work I love, developing my portfolio, building my personal brand as a lettering artist. And nowadays I have shifted myself from the middle, and it's more about others and helping others do that, helping my kids grow up healthy and as good human beings, and helping also our community, build careers around their skills.
Okay, that's great. Well, um, there have been so many changes for you, and since you moved, as you said, and you've done so much work, published books, and done workshops, teaching everything. How do you balance it all? I'm always interested. I don't have kids, and I still find it extremely difficult to balance life and all different projects and some side projects. And whenever I have the opportunity to ask someone, like, how do you do it? I do it. So what's your secret, and how do you even manage to balance those things?
So, Alan, there's no secret. I have a ton of help. So, I just mentioned my team. I know that in my business, I'm the visible face. You see me everywhere. You see me everywhere on Instagram, on YouTube. I'm everywhere. However, they do most of the job. Like, they do most of the work. And I couldn't do it without them. So I get help as much as I can. And because I ask for help, I also have been able to achieve so many stuff. I think that I always remind students and mentees that I work with that no one does it alone. That's the truth, that no one does it alone. And if you try to do it on your own, you will either burn out, or you will end up hating what you do, because it's just too much. And I think that it is a skill that you need to develop, to ask for help as a business owner. And I have learned that from my mother. My mother was also a professional. I saw her grow in her career as an educator, and until she became a director, and she was leading a team. And I've seen my mother lead a team, ask for help, but also she was asking for help in her personal life. And she would ask for help, maintaining the house and taking care of us kids, me and my two brothers. So I also have, I have help inside my business, inside my company, but I also have help in my personal life. We have someone that takes care of our place, that takes care of picking up the kids from school so that we are always on time. And that really frees up a lot of time to create new things, which when you're running a business, that translates in income, and in projects that you're bringing to life. So you have to think like, oftentimes we think about, I have to pay someone to do that. But, by doing it yourself, you're missing on the opportunity of creating those projects and bringing them to life and generating income with that. So it's always, it's always like a little bit of what comes first, like the egg or the chicken. It's always. I know it's hard to start that journey of hiring and asking for help, but but I've started it, and there's no way back.
Okay, so that's the secret. No, I was just, I'm redesigning my own website and going with a different platform now. And the main problem I have, because I have a lot of typefaces, over 100 of them, and I'm thinking to myself, I will need a year to upload all the images, to set up all the prices again, to upload packages, zip files, instructions. And just thinking about that part, it gives me like, okay, I'm leaving this for tomorrow, Yeah.
No,
So
Alan,
it's
time to ask for help, Alan.
okay. I will take that. Yeah, I'll definitely
I think
take that advice.
something that helps me ask for help is when I think about how much it is costing me to do it myself. Like how much am I paying myself to do this? And perhaps in the business, I'm probably the most expensive person to do that. So I'm in your case, Alan, you are also the most expensive
Yeah.
to do that. So so you're losing money over there.
Well, probably. Yeah, I'm thinking the same, but it's hard. I did that before, and I had my own agency, like with 15 different people, worked, and it was good, really good. Then all the other work was actually too much for me, and I decided again to do the freelance work. So now it's kind of a battle again, should I do it? But I'm also thinking like, how much other work would I be able to do if someone was uploading those typefaces?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's all. That's always a trade-off, and I think for those that are watching this right now and are thinking like, how can I start doing this? How can I start, delegating some work? I know that the biggest challenge or the biggest objection is always like, well, but I need to, I need to pay someone else. And I think that oftentimes creatives think that they need to hire someone full time in order to be able to delegate something. And I always tell the story of what my first hire was. So the first hire of my business was the babysitter of my kids. So she was babysitting my kids. I saw in her a few values or a few ways of operating that I felt were suitable for the work that I wanted to delegate. So at that time, I was doing everything. I was doing the administrative work. I was filing taxes, everything. And at some point, I said, okay, I need to start delegating. And I saw in her qualities that were compatible with that type of work that I wanted to delegate. So she was organized, she was always on time, she was responsible, and she was respectful. So I asked her to come to work for me, besides babysitting my kids, to come to work for me 3 hours a week, just to do the administrative work that I was doing. And that was my first hire. She was working for me 3 hours a week. So it wasn't a full time. It took a long time until I had my first full time employee in the company.
Okay.
So just for those watching that are thinking like, hey, I need help. I cannot do it all on my own. I have kids. Life is busy. You can ask for help for just 3 hours a week. And that already frees a lot of time for you. that you could be investing in projects that really bring you income and new opportunities.
That's a great advice, really. Okay, I'm taking that. So yeah, I will let you know how it goes for sure. Um, let's go back to the starts of your typography work, and one of the most interesting things to me were the postcards you did,
Oh yeah.
letter collections, if I'm right. It seems like a really, especially nowadays when no one really sends anything physical when it comes to typography, lettering. How did you come up with the idea and what it meant for you?
So just for those watching, a little bit of background information. Letter Collections was a side project that I started several years ago, over a decade ago, in the beginning of my career as a lettering artist. And it was a side project. I set myself the goal of sending 100 postcards to complete strangers, celebrities, friends, people that I wanted to work with. So I set myself the goal of creating 100 postcards. It was a little bit extreme, the amount of postcards that I set myself to create. But I was doing that. I was designing the postcards and printing them and sending them on snail mail. Here's one of them, for instance. So I was actually creating the design. And I also challenged myself to experience experiment with different designs. With different styles of letter forms.
Okay.
One of the postcards, so that was an extra challenge in each one of the postcards. And yes, and I sent postcards to Ringo Starr, to Lionel Messi, to many celebrities that I admired. Also, I sent postcards to friends and family, and I love, the power of personal projects, especially the power of projects that really have a tangible result and really go into the world, even if it's just a postcard that you send per snail mail. I feel that had first, it helped me build a portfolio. I was really creating postcards, so I was starting the project and finishing the project, which helped me, create portfolio pieces for building my portfolio as a lettering artist. And it also, the fact that it had some impact on the real world, even if that impact was really small, it was, it was just the fact that a friend of mine will get that postcard and say thank you. I received the postcard. It made my day. Or hey, I really appreciate the postcard. I have it on my studio wall, or things like this. Really kept me motivated for the next one, but also in a way showed me for the first time how important it is to show your work, and how important it is to create real things. I think that for those watching this, oftentimes as creatives, we start with our craft as a hobby, and we also often keep it for ourselves, and we create this little bubble where we are creating things that never see the light. And as soon as you start putting things out there, you start realizing how much of an impact your work, even if it's a crazy doodle or a lettering piece, has on someone else's life. And even if that impact is just a smile or a thank you coming from a friend. So I appreciate that project specifically because it helped me build confidence in my craft, build a portfolio, and I think that personal projects are very powerful in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the part that so many of us and so many other designers, we are just keeping those designs for ourselves. And I mean, when I was starting, it was, will this be good enough? And there were a lot of insecurities, and you see other people doing amazing stuff. But I would say it's the easiest way to grow if you share your work.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's amazing to see it like alive and like font you designed on a book or the cover or whatever. But it's also important to just share it and free yourself of that fear, like, oh my god, I cannot share it, and so just release it. And yeah, I've said that so many times to other designers who asked for advice, like, just do it. You know, it's not perfect. If I look at my own typefaces from like 7 8 years ago, they are way from perfect. But I'm here now, you know, and I grew so much, so that's really helps. And I agree with that part quite a lot.
Yeah, I think, and also I think that, oftentimes when you keep your work for yourself, it's oftentimes that safe space in a way, that where what you're creating has a lot of potential, and you're confident, or you're comfortable, you feel comfortable in that potential, but you really get to see the potential when you go out there with your work. And I think many of us are afraid of just taking that step, and this is why we
Yes,
say, like, well, this is just for myself, this is just my hobby, my work. And I think there's a real fear, there of, like, okay, what will happen if I show my work, right?
that's
And at the same time, you're missing that opportunity, right, of what could potentially happen
yeah,
if you show your
yeah,
work, right?
absolutely. How were the reactions to the postcards? Did you receive any like crazy responses or nice responses? How was it?
Well, that's what I love about that project. That I really got feedback from friends and family, and some of the postcards that I sent, which was the thing that gave me the extra motivation to go for the next one, right? Because a personal project is always you're the only one who cares about it.
Yeah,
So you need to have some sort of motivation to carry on, and to complete it. So yes, those were the things that kept me going.
oh, that's great. Um, and then I think before that you were doing I have kind of a competition, lettering versus calligraphy, with Giuseppe Salerno. Yes. How did that go? Did you ever feel that imposter syndrome? We all feel at some moment. But during that time where you guys were kind of publishing a letter each day, how did it impact you and your work?
Yeah, so that was also a side project that I started in the very, very beginning of my career. I had just um, arrived to Berlin. For those that are joining now, I am originally from Argentina. I moved to Europe to launch my career as a lettering artist. And I had just arrived to Berlin, the city where I live now. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know anybody. I had no connections whatsoever. And I did one thing that really had an impact on my success, I believe, now looking back, that was joining a monthly meetup of typographers and type designers, that is still running. It's called Tipo Stammtisch.
Okay.
And in that meeting, I not only met Giuseppe Salerno, who is the person who I started this project with, but also I got to hang out with people who were doing exactly what I wanted to do. Type designers that had their own type foundries. There were no lettering artists at the time. There were some of the type designers doing some lettering work. And then I met Giuseppe in that meeting. Giuseppe was a calligrapher who was here in Berlin just for a season. And we made friends, and we started this project. And what we were very enthusiastic about each other's crafts. So he was a calligrapher. For those that don't know the difference between lettering and calligraphy, so lettering is about drawing letter forms, and calligraphy is the art of writing letter forms. And we set up an online battle. We created a website where we uploaded one letter a day. He would do it with, I would do it with lettering. He would do it with calligraphy, and people could vote for the one they liked the most. And that project went crazy, and we were invited to conferences to speak, and we were invited to teach workshops all across Europe. So that was really a project that brought a lot of opportunities our way. But I always say that it was us, the ones that stepped up first. It was us, the ones that really set up the whole thing, that really believed in the project, and we actually did it without any, you know, although the project brought a lot of opportunities our way, I think it was all us, just, showing our work, putting our work to, on an online platform so that people could vote. Anybody with a click could decide whether your work was shit or not. And I think there's a great value in that. And because we expose ourselves in that way and our work in that way, it paid off.
That's amazing example of the power of side projects, of personal projects. Yeah, I was maybe 2 months ago, just before Christmas, I was talking to Elliot J. Stocks, and one of his main things and most important things he said, it's do the side projects. And because they lead to so many other things, and it was in your case as well, and leading to conferences, to workshops. Probably that road led you to writing books as well. And I would like to talk a bit about that as well, because he wrote a book on typography, and he said a lot of like challenges what were behind it. How was your process? What were your ideas? How did you actually went through it? What was the hardest part? And tell us more.
So I guess you're speaking about this book. I wrote several books.
Yes, several books.
I believe you're speaking about this book right here, The Golden Secrets.
Yes.
So this was my first book, and it's a book about, essentially the art of lettering. And it also has a portion of business, how it is to work professionally as a lettering artist. This book was a work of love, I would say. I would say it's one of the projects I'm most proud of. And the project developed from my workshops. So I started teaching workshops from day one. So, back in, and I was talking about this in an interview yesterday, back in 2010, lettering was not established yet. So people would wonder what lettering was. So I would go talk to a client or to colleagues and introduce myself as a lettering artist, and they would wonder what lettering was. So I had to explain this to people, and in that work that I had to do to create a market for myself here in Berlin, I decided to set up workshops. So I was teaching workshops in lettering design. And the people who come to those workshops were designers, art directors. So they were at the same time the people that will later hire me. And through those workshops, I was able to teach them how to do my work, but also to teach them what lettering was. And throughout these workshops, I started developing like a system, because I had to explain someone else how I was doing my work. I realized, okay, I have a series of steps to do what I do. and I started shaping this concept for a book. And yes, and I started creating that as a side project as well. I started doing like the structure for the book. And I was at this conference here in Berlin, a design conference that it was is no longer running, but it was very well established at that time. It's called Tipo Berlin. And I met a colleague who was a book designer, and I said to him, "Hey, I am I'm working on this book. I don't have a publisher yet, but I'm just working on this book." And he said, "Like, well, look, across the room, there's this editor of this publishing house, which is one of the um, biggest design books publishing house here in Germany. Why don't I introduce you to this person, and you can tell him about the idea of your book?" And so we did. He introduced me to that person, and in 2 minutes I pitched the idea for my book. And I think something important about this is that because I know that many designers and creatives like struggle with this, with selling their own projects, with selling their own work. But when you really believe in a project, when you really think this is something that needs to come to life, when you really think that this is something that is good, that there's nothing like this out there, it is easy to sell it. And in those 2 minutes, I pitched the idea of my book, and at the next day I got an email from the editor inviting me to a meeting where we discussed the project, and later he sent me a contract, and we brought this book to life, which was translated into 6 languages. So Japanese, Spanish, Portuguese, French, English, and German. So yes, so that started as a personal project, but then um, got to came to life through collaboration with the publisher. Yeah.
That's that's amazing. I mean, it's so crazy how 2 minutes, like on a conference somewhere outside, can actually change things so quickly.
Yeah.
That's
You have to
that's so
you
great.
have to be in the place, like
Yeah,
it's I know that the story that I'm telling you sounds like, well, but you were just lucky, or you were just this happens just once in a lifetime. But if you expose yourself to all of these different opportunities, there will be one that comes your way that you are catching in the moment, right? But if
that's
I
so
would
true.
have gone to this conference and I wouldn't have spoken about the fact that I was creating a book, because otherwise I would, oftentimes we keep these projects for ourselves. We
Yes,
keep it in the secret. And if I wouldn't have spoken about this wouldn't have happened. So it always starts with yourself. I do
um,
believe that it always starts with yourself. So yeah.
yeah, putting out the work and putting yourselves out there, and yeah. And in your latest book, Make It, it's more about the business side of the work. You are, yeah, right there. Um, you tell the story through a character, Mary. Well, first of all, how much of Mary is actually Martina?
So in this book, which is the latest book that I launched, that I published, I tell the story of Mary, which is a lettering artist who is miserable at her job as a graphic designer, and she meets a mentor, and the mentor helps her or guides her through the process of like mastering her craft and launching her creative business and succeed at it. No, so and it's a story. It's essentially a novel
Okay.
with the story of Mary, the conversations with the mentor, um, and I always say that although the the story has a lot of elements of my own story at building my career as a lettering artist. Um, it also has elements of my own story of being a mentor for many lettering artists today. So it has an element of both, and with that, it combines everything in one compelling story. You know, before writing this book, I thought, okay, what do I want with this book? What, you know, what is it? What is it that I want the reader to feel in this book? And in this book, I want the reader to feel understood, that they can see themselves in the story of Mary, who is, you know, someone who has a dream of turning their creative skill into a business of you know, being paid and making a living from with their creative skill. And they go through struggles, and they also go through wins and questions and back and forth. So I wanted the reader to feel understood, and I could only do that by understanding that journey myself. So the experience that I had at building my own business was essential to build this, to create this book. And at the same time, the experience that I have at helping other designers and lettering artists and illustrators build their own businesses also allowed me to write the character of the mentor here. I feel that both experiences have shown me so much about the challenges that come with building a business around your skills, and everything is in here. So everything, all those experiences, both experiences, the side of the artist building the business and the side of the mentor helping others build their businesses, have come together in one story. Yeah.
That's, I mean, such a different approach to actually writing a book on how to create your own creative business. You know, that's really, really cool. For anyone interested, where can they get the books? Through your website, on what do you prefer?
Yes. So this book, you can find it on martinaflor.com / make it. So the name of the book, Make It. And the Golden Secrets of Lettering, you can find it on my website. If you go to martinaflor.com, you will find all the books featured on the homepage. So you will find them there for sure, martinaflor.com.
Okay, perfect. I will include the link in the chat, like in the caption later. Apart from the books in which you actually teach, oh, well, the whole world, whoever wants it, you are also doing workshops and you are a mentor to other people. How does that actually complete you, and what kind of success do you actually get from that?
Look, Alan, I feel like there's nothing better I could be doing right now at this stage of my career. As I said before, it's been 15 years. It's been 15 years in which I have developed myself as an artist, but also as a person, as a, you know, as a mother. And I feel that whereas in the beginning it was a lot about me, now it's a lot more about other people. And, you know, being a mother changed me in that sense, as I mentioned before. And I feel that, you know, the feeling of like being able to see someone through my help and my guidance, is able to achieve a goal that is so meaningful for their life, like launching their own business, getting to do the work they love, finding an expertise. It's really rewarding. I never thought it would be like this at this point of my career, but I couldn't have imagined like a better present. You know, it happens to me that people come, or a student comes into our programs or our community, and 1 year later they are launching their studio in lettering design and getting their first assignment. And for me, that's gold, because I know how it feels. I know how it feels. And I know that in the beginning of my career, I would have loved to have that support. I know that I felt alone many times, that I experienced a lot of doubt and anxiety because of that. And if I can help pave the road for those that are coming new into the industry, but also for those that are established and that are wondering, hey, what's next for me? We have a mentorship program where we work with designers and lettering artists, and some of the members that come into this program, they are launching their career from scratch. So they want to build their businesses in lettering and letter design. But some of them have been, freelancing for 15 years. And they're wondering, like, I want to stop doing generic design work and I want to really dive into my expertise, call it lettering design or illustration. And it's a journey. It's the journey of, like, changing your identity or building a new identity for yourself, which is really challenging and at the same time, very rewarding. At the end of the process, they get to send a message to the world that brings them back what the opportunities that they want to attract. And that's so powerful. And being part of that, seeing them being super successful at doing that and being part of that journey is such a great job.
I I can imagine. Yeah, I don't do those things at the moment, but I can imagine how it feels. And I do have a couple of more questions. I will not keep you for too long. I know you have to pick up the kids and everything, and so no worries. But how does an introvert, and you define yourself, I mean, as an introvert somehow, how does it do all of that so publicly?
So I recently learned that most of us are ambiverts. There's a term that is called ambivert, where it's an in between point between extrovert and introvert. So you enjoy being with people, at the same time you also enjoy being on your own. And I think I'm one of those. So I'm like most people, ambivert. Like I love being on a stage speaking and inspiring people. I also love being at home, just doing my thing, reading my book or writing. And I feel that one of the main challenges that I have faced and that I have trained myself throughout my career is the one of creating conversations and being able to talk to people about what I do. I think as designers and creatives, showing the work is just not enough. And we often believe that it is, but it is not enough. Your work needs you to tell the story, to tell why you are creating the work. You are not just a creator of pretty pictures. You are creating meaningful work that has a concept, that has a goal, and therefore you should train yourself in the art of words and the art of telling your stories, telling your process. So yes, so I feel that a big part of my work throughout the years has been to train myself in the art of words, and that has allowed me to nowadays run a podcast and run an online academy and mentor other people and also write books. I tell my mentees that a big part of being an expert and being recognized for what you do is to educate people about what you do. To educate, you will have to educate in some way or another your clients, your colleagues, your audience on why what you do is important. And you would do that through words, essentially, through writing, through articles, through recording a podcast, through writing a book. But you need to, as an expert and as an expert in what you do, whatever it is that you do, if you're an illustrator, if you're a lettering artist, if you're a logotype designer, a type designer, if you're an infographics designer, you will need to educate people around why what you do is important, and you do that through words.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for that. Before I ask my last question, I have one more. Like, what are you working on at the moment? What is there a special conference you're going, or a book, or tell us more. What's current for you?
So, something important in our calendar year is that we open registrations for our signature program, which is called the Lettering Seminar, where we teach the art and business of lettering design. And this program is opening registrations in April. And before that, we offer, to celebrate that one time a year opportunity, we run a workshop we run a series of workshops where we dive deep into the industry of lettering, the possibilities of income that there is with lettering design. We speak about what I call the lettering revolution, and this is a free series of workshops that is happening at the end of March. And yeah, this is like the biggest event inside our studio. We all are dedicated to that for the first quarter of the year. So that's happening in April, so in 1 month, and then after that we are publishing Make It in Spanish. So it's the first other language that the book is going to be translated in, and hopefully more will come. So, and together with that, I will just go around some Spanish speaking countries and get to talk to people in my mother language for once.
Yeah, for once. No, I was thinking like maybe we should do it in Spanish. I'm still not completely. I'm doing good, but it would be interesting, to start it in Spanish. Even though probably most of the people who follow us are from English-speaking countries, and we all speak English in social media.
But
So
next time.
yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I hope you come to Spain, like to promote the book. I would be completely open to even do a live interview. Why not? Or me just for a coffee or a beer. That would be amazing.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a deal. So, before we conclude, there have been a couple of questions that are maybe a bit more specific, and I will send them over to you so we can post them in the caption of the reel later.
Yes.
Because they are quite specific, and so not to, to have them in one place. So I will send them over to you. There's like 2 or 3 questions, so that would be great, and I will include them in the caption. And for the end, if you could give only one advice, not just when it comes to business, but to anyone, like just one thing that you could say, what would it be?
To anyone who wants to do what?
Whatever they're doing, it doesn't have to be business, it doesn't have to be typography, it can be life. Like, what's the one main advice that you follow in your life?
Well, I will give you one advice that stuck with me for many years to the date, which has to do with time is the most important resource you have, and is the one that you need to be administrating the most. So we all have time. The only thing that we all have is time. And what really matters is what you're using, what you're investing this time into. So I think this is more of a question for those listening. What are what is your time going into right now, and whether that is meaningful for you or not? Because that's the one resource that we have that we can allocate in things that matter, as well as waste them in things that don't really matter. So that's that's something that you can start thinking about.
Oh, that's, we always all complain like, I don't have enough time for this, I don't have enough time, but there's actually always enough time.
Time is the only thing you actually have.
That
Time
is
is
so
it's
amazing.
available for all of us, and
Yes.
it's the one resource that you need to administrate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good because no matter where you are born, no matter what your life circumstances are, you you do not have more time than I do, and or anyone else anywhere in the world. So that's quite amazing. Yeah, something to think about. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining me. I know like we all have a lot of things to do and but I really enjoyed it. And I've only touched some questions, so I would definitely like to repeat it sometime in the future when there's more time from your side and from my side as well. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I'm really looking forward to talking to you again.
Thank you, Alan. This was a very well invested hour of my time.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay.
Goodbye.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye. You too. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.